I think it's safe to say you are the idiot. You cannot say that it's enhanced the viewing or match day experience or anything of the Premier League this season. Yes, it's got a couple of more decisions right.
Which is what it's been introduced to do. What more do you want it to do? Mate. Good to see you. Not drinking, Josh.
Take my job very seriously.
Thought you'd need one after the result of the City ground at the weekend.
I don't know what you're talking about. By the time this goes out, Leeds will be 10 points clear at the top. You know you're wrong. Come on, move it. Come on, you're wrong.
No. Because I'll tell you why. And I know I've got the more difficult argument here because VAR is very unpopular. But I think there are things that have disappeared from the Premier League or are disappearing from the Premier League. Diving, to the extent that it was, of course people are still going down under contact, but the blatant dive, someone just going over in the box, without any touch, any contact, has pretty much disappeared from the Premier League because players know they're going to get caught. Managers are talking more about football after the games now. They have a little moan about VAR, but it is nowhere near to the extent of, this should have been a penalty, that player dived, the referee messed up again. I think overall it has had a positive impact.
I think, it's ludicrous to say it's overall had a positive impact. I actually spoke to our audience on LADbible the other day and only 25% of them said it had a positive impact. The whole experience of watching football has been ruined, and at the end of the day it's an entertainment product. And if we're not being entertained...
The whole experience of watching football has been ruined. That's an exaggeration.
Okay, that's maybe a slight exaggeration, but now I support a championship team. The thing I like most about watching championship football over Premier League football is that when a goal's gone in, you don't have to wait 2, 3, 4 minutes, you don't know if you have to stop to celebrate. Have this awful thing in the Premier League, we're seeing fans of both clubs chanting VAR, VAR. That's not football for me. I think it's safe to say you are the idiot, or the village idiot in this discussion. You cannot say that it's enhanced the viewing or match day experience or anything of the Premier League this season. Yes, it's got a couple of more decisions right.
Which is what it's been introduced to do. I'm sorry it hasn't, entertained. I'm sure it hasn't given you a blowjob, Josh, but it's here to get decisions right, and that's what it's done. What more do you want it to do?
Yes, it has corrected more decisions. We both agree that's a stat, that's a fact. You can't disagree with that.
But that's what it's there to do.
Yes, but at the same time, the whole experience of waiting 3, 4, 5 fucking minutes
that doesn't happen. That simply doesn't happen.
It does happen all the time.
Occasionally,
it's Spurs versus Everton at Goodison Park earlier this season. There's a handball. It's 2, 3 minutes, and that time's not being added on. Why don't we go back to a sport where why don't we have one half of football? Why don't we bother with two?
If we just added the time on, would you be happy?
No, because you're also then having fans chanting for it. You're waiting 3 minutes, there's a goal scored, and then how do you celebrate that? That's not what football's about. Are we going to wait 5 minutes and then, let's turn around, we fucking scored, let's celebrate?
Fans, when they have a player sent off wrongly after 15 minutes, will spend the entire game chanting about the referee.
Referee's a wanker, I do it quite a lot.
Exactly. So we've just gone from VAR to the referee's a wanker.
Yeah.
Football fans are still moaning about something. The difference is we're getting more correct decisions. And this is a situation where both of us agree it's not even being implemented perfectly, so it can still improve from here.
Perfect, just what the producers wanted.
VAR isn't turning people off football. That's just simply not true. People aren't disappearing from football. They're moaning about it because they love to have something to moan about. And before this, it was refereeing decisions, it was diving, whatever. People aren't tuning off from football.
But in terms of killing the game, I agree, they're not turning off. We're addicted to it. It's like a drug. That's why I still support this useless team after 26 years. If we want to continue kind of giving back to the fans in the sense of a good entertaining product and a nice experience when they're spending hundreds of pounds to attend matches across the country, we need to make that experience as close to perfect as possible. And at the moment, VAR is taking it way further away from that.
Which game has been ruined by VAR this season?
Lots of games and moments which you celebrate, and I think iconic Premier League moments. You go back to the Aguero, imagine that, they win the title, but then there's a 3-4 minute check to see if he was onside, if Balotelli was fouled in the build-up, or any of those sort of things. That's not what football's about. I think we both agree that football's about that instantaneous moment. That's why I love it the most. Rugby, cricket, all these other sports I watch and I play and I enjoy, but the most impressive thing and most exciting thing in all of sport is the moment the ball hits the back of the net. And once you ruin that moment, that's when it's gone.
I agree that football is entertainment, as you say. It's about fun, but it's also It's also about trying to find the right winner as you can in a game, or the right decision.
But we know that doesn't happen as it is.
The example I always think is like the 100-metre final, okay? Right, there's no kind of more like visceral, more thrilling, instant impact thing in sport. But when two people cross the line at the same time, they go and they have a photo review, and it actually takes a couple of minutes for them to work out. And they don't just go, oh, it's the Olympic final, there's a man on the line, he'll just like decide who's won. Oh, it's Usain Bolt or Justin Gatlin, hooray. And then they look at it later and they go, oh no, it was actually, that was wrong, but we don't want to spoil the instant moment for the fans in the stadium, so let's not worry about that. Let's just give it to the original.
That's completely wrong.
It's a 100-metre final. You want the right person to have
Yes,
won.
but the 100-metre final is 10 seconds, and there's only one decision that matters. There's 10 decisions.
10 seconds, so it should actually
one
be better.
decision, and of course you're going to look at
90 minutes of entertainment.
And so what? We're going to have a 3-hour-long football game because we're going to check every decision for 2-3 minutes.
Because no one's suggesting that, are they?
Well, you're suggesting that we need to get every decision right.
No, I'm not suggesting that.
Well, that's what it feels like.
I did not suggest that.
You're saying that it's really important that we get everything right, like they do in the 100-metre final, and we don't want to ruin the experience.
Everything.
How many things are we going to get right?
The important things, the big things.
Define important.
Like, you know, red cards, penalties, things like that. And yeah, we both agree it's not being used perfectly, but that doesn't mean you're just going to throw it out. All right, so the debate's over. We both agree that you need to get the most accurate decision, and that video
but not at the cost of the experience of the game. I strongly agree that referees need to get decisions correctly. The problem is the quality and the standard of refereeing is abysmal in the Premier League, and even with VAR, we're still getting too many decisions that aren't correct.
Everyone's always complained about the standard of refereeing. You know, I've come to the conclusion that this is just an incredibly difficult job. Like, being a linesman is an impossible job.
I completely agree. For me, that's even harder than being a referee. Having to watch at the exact time when a ball's kicked to when someone's level or not, that's almost impossible.
How can they do their job without technology to help them?
That's the point where we need to either look at the rules or the implementation of VAR, or both. And I think for me, the problem is at the moment is that, as you said, there's millimetres offside, and we agree that that is factually offside. The way that they're judging it based on the TV frames and the metres per second, it's not still accurate.
It's way more accurate than a middle-aged man or woman on the sidelines trying to look in two different points at once, which is impossible. I think people just don't like the offside rule. They just don't like the fact that it's being implemented correctly right now. That's not to do with VAR.
I think that's the easiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
One way VAR can be improved, if there's doubt, you go with the original on-field decision. So the overall...
It's like an umpire's call in cricket.
Exactly the same as an umpire's call in cricket. It only comes into play when there's a blatant error. And also I think...
How do you decide blatant error? I think for me, that's part of the problem, is that at the moment there's two options. Either VAR doesn't work or the rules of football don't work. You could argue both, and changing the rules of football is a very hard thing to do. Other sports are better set up for it. I think we mentioned tennis, cricket, they're perfect for VAR or technology because they are very black and white calls. For football, there's so many grey areas. It's really a shit sport when it comes to the rules, and that's part of the problem. I don't think we can ever change the rules to accommodate VAR.
True, but one thing.
So we just end it there. True. Agree. Game, set, match. Thanks for coming. We ready? Cut. Yeah, it will be here because the people who control the game make the wrong decisions. They're so far down the line with it, they won't have the balls to actually go, we fucked up here, we need to go back to what it was. They just care that, oh, we've got this product, we can sell it for $3 billion for the next 3 years in terms of the TV deal. They don't care that football and the actual experience of what it is to go to a game is being kind of lessened by VAR.
How would you like to see it implemented in your ideal world, but having VAR?
So, ideal world, there's a lot of things. Leeds would be winning the Champions League, but in terms of VAR, I think
it'd take more than VAR to get to
and
that.
a lot more than 5 years. But yeah, I think for me, it's a case of we need to look at a lot of things. Why is it taking so long? We need to either have a time limit. Players and teams could maybe have an amount of challenges like they do in tennis. There are so many sports that are so much more advanced in the way they're doing it, and we need to trial it maybe in certain competitions, whether it's the EFL Cup or competitions away from the Premier League where there's so much importance and care around it.
Yeah.
Then we can get to to a place where we go, you know what, it's working a lot better than it currently is, because we both agree it's in a shambolic place at the moment?
I mean, I don't agree it's in a shambolic place, but I do.
You do deep down. You just can't say it right now.
I do agree that launching it in the Premier League right off the bat like this was ludicrous. You're right. They should have trialled it in like a competition like the League Cup, or like a competition that people don't really care about, like the Championship, one of those.
Or the Scottish Premier League. I'm not sure you can afford it up there, but if you could,
Scottish
then yeah.
Premiership, you should know your branding.
Yeah.
But,
there's only 2 teams that matter there, and you don't support one of them, so I don't know why you care.
But yeah, I think like launching it head on in the Premier League was a mistake. I think we both agree on that.
Despite being pro VAR, I would definitely go for a drink with you. You seem like a fine, good gentleman who's knowledgeable about football.
Yeah, like part of the fun of being a football fan is talking about these things, is debating about these things. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
I wasn't honest because I don't do like long-term relationship.
Why
I
not?
don't do it. I fuck it up. Sleeping with somebody else.
Sleeping with someone else?
Yeah, that is literally why I...
That's your honest answer, yeah?